Alcohol can be a useful short-term tool if you want to learn Russian, but in the long run, you have to watch out with it. At the end of this video, you know exactly how often you should be drinking to get the most out of alcohol for your Russian language skills. Меня зовут Арий, я голландец, и я уже 6 лет изучаю русский язык, и в это время я достаточно алкоголя пил, поэтому есть у меня какое-то знание и какой-то опыт насчет этой темы. И вот что я выучил в это время. 2 плюса и 2 минуса алкоголя. Давайте начнем. Let me explain the first benefit of drinking alcohol for learning Russian with a short story. I remember the first time I went to Russia. It was in 2016, and after a couple of days we went hunting with the family of my girlfriend. There were also some friends of her family, and we went into the forest in Tver, and there we went to hunt for moose. Now, some friends of her, they caught a moose, and at the end we went to some house, to some garage, and the people, they were putting the moose into pieces to share them among everyone that was there, and to freeze them up. And that was very interesting. So the moose was hanging there like that at the ceiling of the wall, and I'd never seen something like that before. And while doing that, everyone was drinking samagon, which is homemade Russian vodka. And there's just something magical about the fact that, you know, there's all guys doing a guy thing, and then, you know, having a couple of shots of samagon, of homemade vodka with it. And in the beginning, it felt a little bit, my Russian wasn't that good at the time, and it was quite difficult to really make a connection and to really say what I wanted to say. But, you know, after a couple of shots, everything becomes a lot easier. And at the end of the night, it seemed to me that it was very easy to make conversations, and everyone else felt the same. My Russian got up a couple levels in my mind, it felt like. And the main benefit of this is that the effects of feeling this confidence and having having the ice broken was that the next days it made me much more comfortable to actually speak with those guys, because I knew that, you know, we'd already been drinking, and because of the alcohol confidence, the Dutch courage as it's called, already put me through this barrier of drinking. So it just made it so much more easy. And the benefits of having the ice broken and the benefits of having the confidence with those people just made me feel more confident in myself, that I was able to speak, so I started speaking more. But now, let me explain a downside of drinking alcohol for your Russian learning skills. I remember quite often, especially in the first 1-2 years, when I was still studying or when I went to my internship or started working, that I would be listening to a Russian audio lesson, for example, on a Friday morning. And afterwards, on a Friday night, I would go out to a party. But what happened if you then drink? Then on Saturday, I started recollecting what did I learn on Friday morning during this lesson. And because of the fact that I've been drinking, it made it much more difficult for me to actually put all the memories, all the new things that I'd learned into my long-term memory. And on Saturday, I'd be like, oh, I kind of forgot this lesson, or I didn't completely digest it, because alcohol makes it much more difficult to digest information, because your sleep is damaged, which means that your brain cannot take short-term memories and put them into long-term memories. And that's why drinking alcohol kind of ruins a day of learning very often, depending on the amount that you drink, of course. But if you drink hard, then you're barely going to recollect anything that you learned the previous day. If you find this video useful, please check out my free tips to learn Russian in the description. They'll help you speak better, learn Russian faster, and they're free, so check it out. There's another benefit of alcohol that alcohol can be very useful for if you want to learn Russian well, and that is its great ability to get you over plateaus. Now, I remember when I was learning very often, I would feel like I would be practicing for months and I would just not get a feeling of progress. Like every single day I'd be learning new words, learning grammar, just watching series, just basically making sure that I'd be progressing. But in the end, I would just try and speak, and it just felt like I was getting nowhere. Like all the effort was wasted. So I would feel like I would be just plateauing and sometimes even going down, like that my knowledge was decreasing. Now, where alcohol comes into play here was that during those times, especially after a couple of months, and then, you know, we'd be having some friends of my girlfriend would be coming over, or would be speaking Russian just with another friend of mine, and we'd be drinking a little bit. And then all this ability that I'd gained suddenly came out to the surface, basically. And alcohol, for that way, especially a couple of drinks, is a very good plateau buster. Whenever you're feeling that you spent a couple of months learning and for some reason it's just not getting out, like you feel like you're getting nowhere, just try it. Just have a couple of drinks together with a Russian-speaking friend, and don't do this like, oh, I have to, we're going to practice Russian and drinking together. No, just have a couple of drinks with a Russian friend, and then things will get out. And then very often you'll find that there was no plateau in the first place and that your Russian actually improved a lot. The next downside of drinking alcohol for learning Russian is this. I remember several times when I'd be having a party, and then the next day I would try and learn Russian. And very often it would be horrible. Like, I would just be unable to focus because I drank too much, or it would just like, I would not have either not to focus, or I would not have the endurance kind of to go through a longer session. And it was just all out not fun to be practicing. And this is unfortunately a downside if you drink too much, or for some people it's already after a couple of drinks, that it just makes it so much more difficult to focus the next morning. And if it means that you drink alcohol several times a week, it means that you basically ruin a couple of Russian practice points. And another thing that this is also related to is the fact that, for example, like if you want to learn Russian, it's very good that every single day you practice. But if you're practicing, for example, 6 days already in a row, and then the 6th day at night you drink some alcohol and it makes you not want to practice the 7th day, then you kind of break the streak of learning Russian every single day. And you really want to avoid that. So how often should you be drinking? Well, the answer is basically this. I would recommend you throughout the week, whenever you're practicing, don't drink at all. This is something that I also barely do. I barely drink anything throughout the week. But then sometimes on the weekend, then you're speaking to Russian people, or you have something else going on, then drink a little bit just to loosen up a little bit. So that's kind of how I recommend you drink. Если вы хотите те советы, которые я бы давал самому себе, когда я только что начал изучать русский язык, посмотрите вот на это видео.